Welcome back. So for those of you who have been following along, who are subscribed to my channel, I've been working on projects for my baby girl's first birthday, which is in less than a month now. It's my first baby, it's her first birthday. We have to do kind of like a quarantine drive-by type thing for her party, but that's okay. My baby's still gonna have her outfit and she's still gonna have a themed party, which is Cocomelon, which is her favorite show in the world. Actually, it's the only show she will watch. She won't watch anything else. She literally yells at me if I try and put on another show. Girl knows what she likes. She knows what she wants. So, in the last episode of the ongoing saga, I made her Cocomelon #1 birthday shirt. So even though it's a Cocomelon theme, we're kind of going with the rainbow and we're doing 6 colors. So kind of like the Roy G. Biv, but without the indigo. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Violet. And then trying to focus a bit more on like the more girly colors for her, but still keeping all the colors of the rainbow. And so everything, and you'll keep seeing as you watch all the videos, every project that we kind of work on incorporates those 6 colors. So today we're making her tutu. It's going to be a double layer or a double layer ribbon trim tutu with glitter ribbon, as well as satin ribbon. I'm not gonna pick that one up for that reason. Got all kind of tulle here in the 6 colors that I mentioned, in keeping with the theme. So, the last time I tried to do a tutu tutorial, or as I say, tutorial, it failed miserably because of my camera and because of other extenuating circumstances. So I will try my best this time. I think if anything, so I can get more work done as I'm going, if I'm not stopping and speaking, I might just do a voiceover later on when I edit the video. But I will give directions on how I make the version that I make. Everybody does their tutus a little bit differently, but my double layer ribbon trim tutu. So I hope you like it. I hope it helps you a little bit if you're trying to make your own, and I'll just share whatever info or tips that I have from myself. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I'm going to start off by cutting my tulle first. Now, depending on what size you're doing, depends on how much tulle, how much ribbon, how much waistband material you'll need. So I'll go ahead and put my own measurements, the dimensions that I use, in the description. But again, everybody kind of does their own thing, so you might hear different measurements from different people. Personally, I like the tutus to be just a little bit shorter because it makes them look a bit more fuller and not so like long and drawn out. Especially for little girls like mine, she's only going to be a year old. So even though she mostly wears size 18 months in clothes, I'm going to do a size for a 9 to 12 month old tutu because I do want it to be just a bit smaller, because they stretch. It has an elastic band, so it stretches. But I feel like this way it'll just look a little bit more fuller. So for a 9 to 12 month tutu with the dimensions that I use, I would need 8 yards of tulle. So I have 6 different colors. So it doesn't add up perfectly. If I needed 6 yards of tulle, then of course I'd just do 1 yard per color. But I need 8 yards total. So I don't want to just repeat 2 colors. Instead, what I'm going to do is kind of divide it up. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is, since I need 2 more yards, and a yard is made up of 3 feet, what I'm going to do is just do 1 yard plus 1 foot of each color. So usually what I have measured on my table is basically 3 feet, so that's 1 yard. So I kind of go across, do 1 yard, and then I'll push it down a little bit and add 1 more foot and then cut my tulle. So that's what I'm going to do for each color, since I have 6 colors for this rainbow trim tutu. So I'm going to do 1 yard plus 1 foot of each color, and that will basically, not exactly, but it's fine, it's not precise, we're not doing rocket science here, it'll basically get me up to 8 yards. For this same tutu, the length of the tulle itself, once I cut it at the end, will be 14 inches. Now the reason it's going to be 14 inches is because it's going to be folded in half. Okay, so really the length, meaning from the waist to the bottom of the tutu, is only going to be 7 inches long. Again, she's only a year old. Well, she's going to be a year old. So whatever you cut has to be double. and I'll show you that later on. So 14 inches, once it's cut, folded in half, it'll be 7 inches later on. And then my waistbands at the, towards the end, when I cut my waistband out of elastic, I need 17 inches. So again, this is for a 9 to 12 month old tutu, so perfect for like a first birthday. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started now, cutting all of my tulle. Then head to the sewing machine and go with further instructions then. Okay, so if you noticed, I cut some of the beginning off because sometimes with a new roll of tulle, the very beginning is kind of like crumpled a bit. So I just kind of cut that piece off, toss it, or use it for something like a hair bow or something later on. And then go ahead and measure from there. So now I have to measure the length. So I just have each color rolled. Doesn't have to be rolled perfectly, but just, try and do it as best as you could. First thing you want to do is cut one end off, just because if you look, it's not even, so it's not going to give you an accurate measurement. So, using my rotary cutter, a cutting mat, and then this metal ruler. This is left over from architecture school when I was doing that. This makes it nice to like kind of follow along on the edge of the cutting mat. And then I can cut off however much I want, however much I feel is necessary to make that, just to make it even on one end. And because there's multiple layers, you might have to go through a couple times. So now I have a more even edge here. So I'll flip that puppy around and put that on the 0 mark because these are measurements here. And so again, I know I need 14 inches. So I'm going to come around to number 14 right here. Put my ruler on the number 14 mark. Put the T-square part at the top. And again, you can do this with a regular ruler. You don't have to have a T-square. And I put pressure on this and I hold it until I pull this away to make sure I cut every strand. And I could save this for later for another project. But for now, this is what I need. Okay, so now I'm at the sewing machine. I'm going to get started with my first layer of ribbon, which I'm going to do the satin ribbon first. This is double face satin ribbon, and it is 1.5 inches wide. I'll do the glitter ribbon at the end, but I'm going to do the satin ribbon first. I have red thread loaded up, and in my bobbin I also have the matching red thread. So just in case you're just coming from the embroidery world and you don't do much sewing, in embroidery you can just use white bobbin thread, but in sewing your bobbin has to match your upper thread, so you have to switch them both times. To make it easier, because this usually sits on the floor and it gets all twisted, this is something I made a long time ago. It's a ribbon dispenser. If you're interested in making one for yourself, I do have a YouTube video for it. I'll link it at the end of this video, But literally I just made this within minutes out of PVC pipe, and this is pool noodle. So I just put my ribbon, this one's a little thinner, or the hole's a little thinner, and I put my other pool noodle, fasten it up, put this on the floor, and then it dispenses the ribbon for me, so it's not all over the place. And of course, when it comes to ribbon, every time you cut it, you want to heat seal it with a lighter to stop it from fraying. Now on my sewing machine, if you can see here, I have a piece of tape. This is like drawing tape. It's low tack. You can also use something like painter's tape, and I put it on the edge here to help at oh my goodness, I can't think of the word, where you do your measurements for how your seam allowance, that's what it is. I put it on a 1-inch seam allowance here, so that as I'm sewing, I line up the edge of the thread with the edge of the tape, and it helps me keep things in line a lot better. Okay, so to get started, I didn't fold it yet because of the way I'm going to do this. I just took one end of the tool. Remember, it is double layered. It comes like that automatically on the bolt. I have my ribbon underneath with a 1-inch on the ribbon, and then I just kind of lay the tool on top so that it's not overlapping the ribbon, and I'm going to sew with just a straight stitch all the way down. So if you watch closely enough, you notice I made a mistake while I was sewing just there, because one of the layers was off. It wasn't getting sewed with the rest. So basically I just took it off, I went back to where I realized that it was coming off, and I just re-sewed again. So no matter how many tutus you make, sometimes you still just make mistakes, and it's okay. Just go back and fix it as best as you can. But so yeah, here we have the red. Now the last thing I have to sew for the red is the channel. So again, I have the 1-inch seam allowance because the elastic that I'm going to use is 3/4 inch non-roll elastic. So it has to be able to go through the channel. So therefore I'm going to sew it at a 1-inch seam allowance so that there's room for the 3/4 inch elastic. So I just have to follow the tape that I already set here. Okay, welcome back. I've had multiple wardrobe changes because it's been a few days. I'm in the middle of finals for school, so I'm in the middle of writing another 10-page paper. A lot going on. Pregnancy at this stage, it's just a lot. Today was a rough day, So it's just been a lot. So I'm trying to get this tutu done and film this video and edit more videos at the same time, but it's not happening exactly how I want. So I might be on a brief break from YouTube. So if you've been missing videos, you notice I've been gone. Now you understand why, and I'm sorry. But I finally got everything sewed. So here's all my colors. Now it's all about stringing them together on the elastic band. So I just cut this down to 17 inches for her waist. Eventually it's gonna, form like this, and it's gonna be sewed here. And this will be the tutu. Now it looks really small, but remember, it's very stretchy, it's elastic. And she's got a tiny little waist anyway. So for this part, I'm gonna use 2 large safety pins. There's different ways of doing this. People use different things. Most people use a slightly smaller. I believe this is a 3-inch safety pin. These are like super huge, but I like them. So, I'm gonna open up the first one. Be careful not to poke yourself, and string it through the top, in the middle of the top, because this is going to be your guide to get you through all the tutus. And then this one, go about 1 inch or so down. And this one, instead of stringing it straight up and down, you're going to string it sideways. And the purpose of this one is to stop your tutu pieces from coming off the end. So this is your stopper. This is the beginning, and this is the end. So I'm going to go in the order of a rainbow, Roy G. Biv. So we're starting with red. And I got to make sure that the part that I want, the decorative part, is on the outside. So I'm going to have that facing me so I can constantly see it, so that my stuff's not getting turned around. So remember, this is the front part, this is the back part. So I'm going to stick it through, make sure it's going through all the pieces of the tool. And then once it is, you just keep pushing it through, And for me, this is my favorite part, because it's like you finally get to see it really coming together. So once you've pushed it through as much as you can, remember, make sure that the good part is always facing you. You don't want to get this twisted around. Once you've pushed it through enough, now you're gonna pull it to go over the elastic band. Like so. And you have this other one at the end to stop it from coming all the way off. Because if you didn't have anything there, this is a stopper. If you didn't have anything there, it would just fall off the end of the elastic. And then you just keep pushing through. Make sure it's not twisting until you come out to the other end. Boom. Pull it down again. And this time you're just going to keep pulling it pretty much all the way down onto your stopper. It doesn't look pretty yet, but it's going to, don't worry. So that's the first one. I'm going to keep going in order of the colors how I want it. I just realized I probably should have done the colors backwards, because now red is on the end. No, it's good. It's good. I had a moment there. It's been a long day, and I don't feel well. Yeah, because then orange will come next, and it'll come back around how I want it. Okay. I'm going to speed this up, show you how you get it done. Okay, so now everything is on the elastic. The next step is to take off the pins, and then what I'm going to do is overlap them by about 1 inch, and I'm going to sew a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine on the first end and then on the second end. So it's got twice in there, because with the elastic, you don't want the little girls putting it on and off and pulling it and it coming apart. That would be a disaster. So you want to make sure that it's reinforced really well. So that's why I do a zigzag stitch twice. So I overlap by 1 inch, and then I zigzag on the first part of the inch and the last part of the inch, so that it's actually really reinforced. So one thing I forgot to mention, as I'm doing a zigzag stitch, I went back and forth multiple times. So I would start here, go down, do a back stitch up, go down, back stitch up, and then go down. I usually do that about 5 times or so, like that, on each side. And again, that makes it nice and secure. Okay, so my next step is to make it look pretty. And usually how I do that, the easiest way is to put it on a mannequin and then just spread it out, make sure the curves are nice the way I want it to be, and not like this, because this is a hot mess. And then the next step after that, I'm going to use my hot glue gun and glue together the ends of each section. So say the end of the red and the end of the orange, I'll put a piece of hot glue right here on the front part of each, put fronts together, so then in the end it'll look like that and you won't see, it'll look seamless. Okay, so for the final step, I'm gonna put a bow on it, but I'm gonna put a double layer bow. So to go with the same theme, I'm gonna do a satin bow in the back and then a glitter bow in front. I'm gonna put it on the purple section because I kind of want to highlight the purple section since it matches more the number 1. And then I'm gonna put green because green is in the back and it matches the Cocomelon watermelon here. I made lots of mistakes on this tutu. I'm having a rough day already as it is, so I'll go ahead and show you, but I'm very embarrassed. I put the orange on upside down. You see this? And the only way to change it, I would have to cut the elastic, get a new piece of elastic, put it on all of them again, which now that well no, not necessarily. I was gonna say now that I did the hot glue already, it'd be even harder, but that's not necessarily the point. I could take off the glue, flip this around. Yeah, it's just a whole mess. But since I'm not selling this one, it's just for my baby, and I feel horrible saying this because I want everything to be perfect for my baby for her first birthday, but she's not gonna know the difference. She's just gonna be 1, and we're not having a party in person. We're doing like a drive-by birthday, so she'll be inside the house. Nobody will be able to like see her or touch her, so they'll just see it from far, and the orange will be back here. So I decided to just put my OCD aside and just let it be and keep working on it. I don't want to waste product or anything, especially since this is, you know, I'm not making any money off of this. It's not to sell, so I'm just gonna let it be and just go to bed sad and depressed. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. But no, so I'm gonna start on the bow now. To do the bow, this part is probably my least favorite part of the whole process. So first I'm gonna get a good amount, and you're gonna kind of make it like you're doing an awareness ribbon. So I'd say around that much. So I'm gonna cut it there. I don't have exact measurements. It depends on, you know, every tutu's different with how you're gonna do it. So do it like an awareness ribbon. This is not double-sided satin tutu or satin ribbon. So if you notice, this side is shiny and this side is not. So luckily this one's going in the back. So I start off with like an awareness ribbon. And then let the back part droop. So then that starts to shape my ribbon. Then what I use, these are like these hair barrettes I found on Amazon. I'll go ahead and put the link down below. And I'll put it there. And I use this sort of as a cinching tool. So I have this thread here. This is crochet thread I got at like Michael's or Joann's. And a needle. So needle and thread. And so now what I want to do is cinch this together. So I'm going to start off by poking through, and I have a knot at the bottom. And so now I'm just going to kind of go in and out a few times so I can cinch this. Okay, so now I'm going to cinch it, just pull it tight. And so you have the makings of a bow. So I'm going to try and turn this leg around a bit, since it's not double-sided. It's gonna go in the back, so it doesn't matter as much, but still. Okay, now what I like to do is fold these in half. And then cut at a diagonal. So that I have like pointed tails. This one's longer, so I need to cut it some more. And then of course always make sure to heat seal it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since this is already attached, I usually just attach it to the elastic band that way, but since I'm doing a double layer bow, I'm going to go ahead and get started on my glitter bow that goes on top. So this way I'm kind of cinching them together. I have this smaller ribbon, 3/8 inch. I'm going to use this for the center. To make my life easier, I'm going to use my hot glue gun. Put a little bit in the back. And put my center ribbon on top. Leave my string in the back. Pull this around. Like so, and then put another stick of glue in the back. Then I can cut off the excess. So now that it's still attached to the string, I can go ahead and attach it to the elastic band here. And what I'm doing is, this is the part where I sewed the elastic band together. So I'm going to try and hide it that way. So I'm going to put my string right in the middle, like of that inch that I did, because to hide the thread of where I did the zigzag stitch on the elastic. So that it would look like that. So now I'm just going to go in the back, not put this to the front really, without hiding it, so that you can't see this white string. But I have to do it a few times to get the bow really secure on there. And there's the finished product. The tutu is complete. It's not exactly how I wanted it. It's not perfect, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go and just be satisfied, because I have lots of other projects to do. I have this final to work on. I have a baby to deliver, and yeah, one section of an upside down tutu and a couple mistakes is the least of my worries right now. So I'm gonna keep pushing, keep going through. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking by me, and I hope this helps at least one person make a tutu. All right, see you guys next time. Bye bye.